Video games. Some you love and some you hate. Some you want to freaking throw out the window, but you keep playing for some godforsaken reason. I'm looking at you, Dark Souls. But there is no doubt that video games get more detailed and more mind-blowing with each generation. So here are the 10 most innovative games during their time.
Number 10 on this list is Fortnite. Now, honestly, I didn't really want to put them on the list, but I cannot deny the fact that they have basically defined what a battle royale is. Now, they weren't the first one to make a massive free-for-all, let's say, but Fortnite made it into the massive genre it is today and what pushed other game developers into implementing it into their games. I mean, seriously, like Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was basically just a battle royale. There's Call of Duty Warzone, and then there's also Apex Legends, and then there's other ones coming out. There's just a ton of them, but they were the ones that defined it, so I had to put them on the list. Moving on to number 9. Minecraft. Minecraft is literally such a simple game, and I believe that is why it's loved by just about everyone. You can do anything in it, and all it really comes down to is if you're in survival mode, you're mining stuff and you're crafting stuff. That's basically it. If you're in creative mode, you can create castles, giant statues, paintings, or even a working iPhone. I don't know how that one works at all. Or you could be like me and build a luxurious dirt house. Moving on to number 8 on this list is Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil. This came out on the original PlayStation in 1996, and it basically defined the horror genre for video games. Before this came out, there were not many gamers that were horror fans. And also, it was one of the first games that made ammo and items scarce enough where you actually had to pay attention about what you were shooting. Number 7 on this list is the game Portal. This game blew away just about every player that decided it was worth the money because of all the mind-bending physics puzzles with the portal gun. And that's about it for Portal. You just couldn't wrap your mind around the idea of a portal actually working inside a game. Number 6 on this list is Dance Dance Revolution. Some of you may not even know what this game is, and wow, does that say a lot about you. It came out in 1998 with its own dance platform that allowed you to hit the arrows on screen by dancing on the arrows on the mat. And let's be honest, most of us were probably doing a lot more than just stomping on the arrows. Plus, it ended up forming the pathway for other music games such as Guitar Hero. Moving on to number 5 on this list is GTA 3. For GTA 3, their tagline was go anywhere and do anything. This was their pitch for an open world game, and that was unheard of at the time. This was the first game ever to have a sandbox style gameplay that allowed you to do just about anything to your heart's content within the game. Number 4, Shadow of the Colossus. This game had a few different amazing things about it. This was one of the first games that made you feel tiny in comparison to what you were fighting. It had moving levels, which were the colossi themselves, and it sometimes also made you question whether what you were doing was right or wrong. Because some of the times whenever you'd go to fight one of the colossi, they wouldn't fight back until you had actually attacked them. Some of them were very docile. And so it just made you internally question whether what you were doing was right. Number 3 on this list is the Half-Life series. All of the Half-Life games were revolutionary in some way. The original Half-Life game was the first to develop a game based around a silent protagonist, which you can see in just about every action game today. The reason this was so revolutionary was because this allowed the player to put themselves into the shoes of the protagonist. Half-Life 2 was revolutionary because, to my knowledge, it was the first to use a physics-based source engine. And it really showed this off with the use of the gravity gun. Going on a side tangent, this was one of my favorite games because they ended up making a separate game based off of mods called Gmod or Gary's Mod, and I'm sure you know all about it because a few years ago, YouTubers were playing this game all the time, especially Propa. So thank you, Half-Life 2, for bringing that about. And the latest Half-Life game, Half-Life Alyx, was a revolutionary VR game. The reason this was revolutionary was because it showed us what a full-fledged virtual reality game could actually look like and how immersive the story could be in virtual reality. Number 2 on this list is Super Mario 64. In 1996, Nintendo brought Mario to life from his prison of side-scrolling games. It made the basis for all future 3D platforming games. And somehow people are still playing this game and speedrunning it to perfection. It's quite literally insane. And going on to number 1 on this list is Dark Souls. In actuality, this game did not make it on the list for most of the lists that I looked at for this video. I believe this game was revolutionary in the fact that it didn't care if you thought it was difficult. Most average players thought it was the most freaking insane, cheap thing in the world because you would die over and 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 over again. There was no way to make it easier unless you modded it. Almost everyone who plays this game either loves it or hates it with every fiber of their being. Another part of what makes it revolutionary is Dark Souls has a way of making you feel so weak and tiny in comparison to the bosses that you are fighting, and it makes beating them give you a great sense of pride, especially after dying for the trillionth time in a row. But another cool aspect of the Soulsborne series is that the world you explore actually intricately connects back to one another, you know, if you actually survive to the next bonfire. Well, that's it for the top 10, but there were many games that were almost on the list. So if there were any games that you think should have been on the list for being innovative, leave in the comments down below. Also, if you didn't know, I actually made this video based on what artificial intelligence told me, and I will be continuing to do this until I hit 100,000 subscribers. And with that, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.